Let's put together a few of the tools we've just learned using the draw and modify discussions. And the way I'm going to do this is show you how to draw some trees and create blocks out of them. So this involves a few new tools as well. One of those is that we need to be able to measure things in terms of feet and inches. In order to accommodate that, I'm going to open up the Units menu, UN, enter, and I'm going to make sure that the type is set to architectural. Now this doesn't change anything for AutoCAD except for that now we can put in a foot mark when we want to draw something that's a foot long, and we can leave the number alone if we want to put in inches. Now we also see that over in the properties there are some values. The values in the properties window will now show up in terms of feet and inches and fractions of an inch as well. So after changing this to architectural, go ahead and click OK. And the first thing I want to do here is to draw a circle, the rough shape of a tree. It's going to have a 5-foot diameter. So I'm going to type in C, enter. The center point is at 0, 0, enter, and that's important. We want to type in that center point. The radius is going to be at 5, and I can use the foot mark. The foot mark is right next to the enter key. Enter. I don't see that shape on my screen because, hey, I'm zoomed in a little too close. So I need to zoom out so I can find that circle. Now, I'm going to draw a few different kinds of trees, and so are you. I'm going to use first the spline command. SPL, enter. And it asks me to specify the first point. So I'm going to start clicking some points. I don't really want to select any points directly on my circle. I just want to use that as a guideline. So I'm going to turn OSNAPs off. I can do this by clicking the button. I can also hit F3. With OSNAPs turned off, I'm going to just pick points around the edge of my circle here and let that spline sort of wobble back and forth around the edge to look somewhat more organic. I'm going to circle this, I'm going to surround this circle twice before I close, creating sort of a knotted shape. And when I get close to closing, I'm going to say C, enter to end the spline command. So this little shape now sort of looks like a tree. It's a very simplified view, of course. I'm going to put one more circle here that's right at the origin that has a radius of 3 inches. So C, enter, center point at 0, 0, enter, and a radius of 3, enter. And it draws a small circle there at the middle, which would indicate a trunk or the base of the tree. This is basically the right shape, and what I want to do is save this information as a file all by itself, and then I can use it inside other files just like we've been using the logo or anything else. You're going to need 4 trees in the end, so this can be called tree 1. Here is how the command works. Type WB, enter. This command is going to take objects that we select and create a new file for those objects. We need to name this file as part of the process. Looking at the options we have, base point and objects, I'm going to allow the base point to stay 0, 0, which happens to be where? Right at the middle of the trunk. So if you are measuring a tree, that's what you'd want to use to put it down on a specific site. So I'm going to leave that alone. Here in objects, they're giving me a small warning. It says no objects have been selected. So I'm going to use this button to select my objects. I need 2 pieces, the spline and the trunk. Once I'm done selecting those, I didn't select the main circle because I'm going to use that again in just a moment. Once I'm done selecting those, I'm going to hit enter. It tells me now that I have 2 objects selected. And what I want to do with these objects is delete them from the drawing after executing this command. The last part here is to tell AutoCAD where these objects go. So I'm going to use the Browse button here at the side. I'm going to find the correct location which is in the W drive in this semester's folder for this class. And I'm going to call this drawing, not new block, but I'm going to call it tree 1. I'm going to use all caps. Save. It's all ready to go. You can see where the base point is. You can see how many objects I've selected. And you can see where the destination file is. So I click OK. And guess what? They get deleted. A new file has been created. I'm going to do this 3 more times. And we're going to play around with some of these other types of drawing tools while we do it. Let's make a tree using the cloud command. So you'll remember that down at the bottom of the draw panel, here's the cloud command. I want to use a freehand cloud. And I'm going to adjust some of these options as well. I want to adjust the arc length. So I'm going to say A, enter. And it says the minimum length of the arc is 1/2 an inch. So what I'm going to do is change that, make the minimum length of the arc 12 inches, enter. And the maximum length of the arc is set to 1 foot. I'm going to change it to 18 inches, enter. And so now as I trace this basic shape, it's going to have arcs that are between 18 inches and 1 foot long. Now let's draw the trunk again. C, enter. 0, 0, enter. 3, enter. This gives us another very simple tree. I'm going to take these 2 objects and make a W block of them again. This time I'll select the objects first, the trunk and the drip line. Type WB, enter. We can see the base point is correct. We can also see that there are 2 objects selected. We can see that those will be deleted from the drawing. All I need to do now is put it in the correct folder. So I'm going to browse. I can see I'm in the correct folder now. The file name will be tree 2. Save that one. These 2 will be deleted when I click OK. And I'll be left with my basic circle again. Finally, I'm going to draw another tree. I'll make this one somewhat more complicated, and then we'll do a circular array of it. So here I'm going to draw a series of small polylines. I'm zooming in and I'm going to draw a polyline. PL, enter, and we'll make a few little segments here. I'm just drawing really just single segments of polylines. So I've got one, I hit enter to end, I hit enter to repeat, and I'm going to draw another, and another, and another, and another, and another. So I end up with several small polylines. Selecting all of these at the same time, selecting these, I can change the end segment width to something wider, say 3, enter. And we'll go ahead and do that. Maybe make some random end segment lengths, maybe 2, enter. And pick this one. We'll make the end segment width maybe 4, enter. And this one we'll make the end segment width 2.5. And over here, say 3 again. And here, say 4. So I'm ending up with a whole series of little triangles. I'm going to move and copy these around in order to fill up about 1/6 of this circle. Using some grips to edit them slightly. Some of you may realize what I'm doing here is setting up for a circular array. After I've got a little pattern there, I can select this pattern. I'm going to run the array command, AR enter. I'm going to select PO because I want a polar array. The base point, I want to use 0, 0. And I can see that that gives me something else that looks somewhat like a tree. Now I'm not real happy with these sort of blank areas in here. So I can undo that command and copy a couple more of these over. Let's run it again. Select, AR enter, PO enter, 0, 0 enter. That looks a little better. Finally, I'll put a trunk on my tree. C enter, 0, 0 enter, 3 enter. So I've got an array. I'm going to select that. That's one object. I've got a trunk. That's the second object. And I'm going to write a new W block. W, B, enter. Everything stays the same. It all looks good. The only thing I need to change is the name of this file. So I'm going to take the words new block and instead type tree3. Okay. Now it's up to you. You're going to draw the fourth tree on your own. Use that circular array command, play with the polyline, the cloud, maybe the hatch. I'm going to go off and make my own tree, and you're going to do the same. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this thing up. I've made a palm tree. You've all made trees as well. It's time to make these into a W block. W, B, enter. I'm going to take my base point at 0, 0. I need to select objects. Notice I'm using a sweep window and not completely surrounding the circle. I hit enter. These objects will be deleted from the drawing. And I'm going to rename this file tree4. Good job. Now that we have 4 tree files, we've played around a little bit with draw and modify. We're going to save those and we'll use them again here shortly.